Hey, I'm Cam Day. Welcome to the channel and to today's video. It is truly a pleasure to have you here, and you might have heard that I just knocked over Reese's Nugget wrapper. It's my kryptonite, what can I say? I hope you're doing well. I just said that, didn't I? You guys make me nervous. If it's your first time here and you're just curious about Ilia, welcome. I hope you are as excited as I am. And if you've been here before, you know what to expect. It's gonna be a good time. So, as you can tell, I will be doing a full face of Ilia makeup. It'll be part tutorial, part review. We're not gonna get super nitty gritty because I could talk about this stuff for an hour. But I hope that I'm able to cover all of the bases. But all of the products that I'm using today, I'm just gonna get it out of the way, are products that I use on a regular basis. Products that I enjoy and thoroughly use. There's only one that I could live without. And I'll let you know. But think of it as a little Easter egg and something to look forward to. There's one product that I don't ever need to use from Ilia ever again. The rest of them are great. The rest of them I enjoy, make me feel really awesome and delicious and fabulous. And if you have them or want to get them, I hope they do the same for you. I also can't keep going on without making a huge thank you to Ilia. I love you so much. Thank you for sending over these products in order for me to make this video and to share my review. I have used Ilia for years now, and it's like a total dream that I'm able to work with them. This is not a paid or sponsored video. This is truly me just sharing from the bottom of my heart the feelings that I have and giving you a little eye into the products that I use and what they look like and how they wear and how they feel. So if that's what you want and that's what you need, then stay tuned or we will get on with it now. Okay, here we are, fresh faced. I am gonna do some foundation. I do have both of the foundations, both the True Skin Serum Foundation and the Super Serum Skin Tint. I enjoy them both, and I'm gonna use this one today just because it's what my heart is telling me to do. But I will do a comparison video, a completely separate video, walking through swatches and reviews of both of these together if you're curious. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna use this one. This is in the shade Selena. Always give everything a good shake. I just feel like it's a good measure. And I do one whole pump on the back of my hand. The beauty about Ilia is that you don't need to use a brush. And let me move my mirror. And normally I am a brush girl. I love tools. I don't like getting stuff all over my hands, yada yada yada. However, I like using both my hands and a brush for this. So I am going to use a brush just because that's what feels right to me in this moment. But just to let you know, especially for people who don't have a lot of makeup tools or just prefer to use your hands, think it's easier, this works and applies really beautifully both ways. Not so much with a sponge, I've noticed, just because it is a fairly thin formula and I don't know, I just don't get the blend that I want or the application and the fullest amount of coverage with a sponge. I'll maybe give it another try, but that's the case for me right now. Going in with a second pump, full pump, and just applying another layer where I want some extra coverage. This is a fairly light foundation. I would say it's like a light to medium coverage and a really natural finish, not too dewy, not too matte, but it's buildable, so that's nice. You can get a little bit more of a custom coverage out of it. Blend down the neck, of course. Ba-bam! We are fully covered. Now it's not full coverage, but you saw from the beginning, fresh-faced, to now that it's a pretty nice, even, medium, like perfectly medium level coverage. It's not cakey whatsoever, even though I built up a couple layers, and it's seamless. And I like when I can still see some texture on my skin, and if I've got any little freckles out to play, I like that I can still see them, you know? It's just, it makes me feel good. I typically don't put foundation on my eyes just as a general rule for myself, especially with a thinner, lighter formula, because I'm just really prone to creasing and I get really oily, so I use that as a specifically concealer only zone, just so you know. As you might be able to tell, this has a little bit of a sheen. It will dry down and kind of sink into my skin and, you know, move in and get a little bit cozier, but it's just the right amount of dewiness for me. It seems controllable. It's not just like an overall grease situation, so that's a good time. let's move on to our next product, and that is the concealer, the True Skin Serum Concealer, and I'm using the shade Lotus. It's a little bit peachy on me, but I think it's a good thing because the peachiness is gonna help cancel out any purpley darkness that I have under my eyes. But you may not have expected to get it so early in this video, but this is the one product that I could totally live without. I'll explain why. One, so far I think it blends best using fingers, and fingers for concealer is like the one thing that I just don't have the patience for, because I like to be delicate around my eyes and yada yada yada. I keep knocking stuff over. I got text messages. Focus. But it's just, I don't like doing this, especially for the coverage. Typically, you can kind of see that I deal with some darkness, and as I mentioned, my eyes get really oily over the course of the day, and I have natural lines under my eyes, so everything I put under there will crease. So I've become very specific about the kind of concealer that I use, and it's usually really high pigment, so super full coverage, and I like to target it, and I like that it's a little bit more on the matte side. This is a fairly thin formula. It's hydrating, and I don't do hydrating concealers because they tend to move under my eyes. So as a result, over the course of the day, this will crease and move on me a lot, and it's just not the right amount of coverage. But the more I use it, and I would say this is about the third or fourth time I've used it, I grow to love it because it does lighten my eyes just a little bit, and it probably looks a lot brighter with these lights and everything, but in the daytime and in less flattering light, it still kind of looks a little bit dark. It's still an improvement, especially when they're on their real dark days, and it still looks very natural. It's really just that it creases really quickly and a lot throughout the day, and usually I don't mind if products move around and I have to just kind of do a little check-in throughout the day and do a little crease touch-up, but this is such a thin texture that when I do that, by the end of the day I've wiped it all off my face, and then I just look like I don't have any concealer on, which is not the point. I already have to wipe the creases out of my lid. While we're at it, I'll take a little. I took some on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna spot cover some of my little bumps. I would maybe see myself gravitating toward the concealer more often if I got a different color that was more true to the rest of my skin tone and kind of used it as an all-over concealer foundation, like when my skin's kind of behaving or I just want something really light and I don't want to do all over foundation, maybe, but I almost always would use a different concealer directly under my eyes because I just know what I like, and this is just not it for me, but that's okay. Moving along, next we're using the multi-stick in Ladybird. I love this one. Again, usually a brush girl, but I'm gonna use my fingers, and I'm a little bit chilly in the room that I'm in right now, so I'm gonna warm it up on the back of my hand. I just like being able to give it some time to warm up and get ready to show me what she's got. So I use whatever's available to pick up from the back of my hand, and I go back to the stick with my finger and I just apply it directly on my cheek and then start to blend just by pressing, not really rubbing too hard, just dipping back in as needed, building up the coverage however I like it. I just love how buildable this is. I think that's the key with most of Ilia's makeup, is that it's got a really beautiful light natural flush and it's buildable. So it's really about how much coverage and how much color you want and customizing it to your mood. So just building it up because I can't help myself. And you can notice that again, I'm just using that really light pressure because I don't want to move the makeup that I put on below it, and I just think I get a pretty good even application like this. I would recommend, especially if you run cold or if you're just cold, and also if your makeup is maybe left in your car and it's winter wherever you are, just to warm up your fingers and to warm up your stick on the back of your hand, because it's going to be a lot easier to apply once it's gotten a little, you know, loosey-goosey. And sometimes if you're going in with a cold finger and you're putting it down on your face, especially because you've already got your foundation on maybe, sometimes you almost pick up more product than you put down with a cold finger. So just keep that in mind. A little warmth goes a long way. This has become one of my go-to blushes. I go in and out of powder and cream blush phases, and this one definitely keeps me in the cream blush phase. I just love the color. It's just the perfect amount of saturation and it feels really natural, but it just brings a really cute flush to my cheeks. And I love the ever so subtle texture. All of their products have a little bit of a dewiness to them so that your skin looks healthy and fresh and glowy, but so far it's not overwhelming and doesn't feel unmanageable or heavy and yucky on the skin. I love. Since this is a multi-stick, I would love to be able to put it on my lips, but when I do, it's almost like exactly the same color as my lips, and it doesn't really build up that much. So that's okay. I like it on my cheeks. Moving along, onto the eyeballs. This is probably the part that I'm most excited about. This is one of my favorite products. I did a completely separate dedicated video on this. You should check it out. I'll add it in the cards up here. Oh my gosh, you need this if you need anything from Ilia. Okay, I love all of these things, but this is the girl. It's their liquid powder chromatic eye tint. I have the shade Fresco, and I'm just gonna walk you through how I use it. First, let me get the creases from the concealer. Not my fave. Just patting it close to my lash line because that's where I like to start. And then I use, gosh, dang it. I keep knocking over the foundation bottle. Okay, using my ring finger, pressing down and blending up, if that makes sense. Pressing directly onto the color and then blending up so that it just goes all the way across my lid. Up into the crease so that it kind of has this smoky, diffuse look. Let it sit for like 0.4 seconds because that's all that it really needs. And bum 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 bum, we have a beautiful, simple 2-second eyeshadow. I love it. And what I really love about it, and what I've mentioned in the video that I've done, is not only how easy it is to apply it, but as a person who, as I've mentioned, has really oily lids and has a hard time getting things to stay throughout the day, this doesn't budge whatsoever on me, and I could not be more grateful. It's again just so simple. You can build it up. This side's already dry. I could go in if I wanted with another layer, and it won't be patchy, it won't pick up on itself. It's just such a beautiful formula. It's not too thin, it's not too thick. I don't really know how else to describe it to you, but I love her. I want to get all the colors. It's just so simple and effortless. You don't have to be a makeup artist, and especially if you're just running out of your house and you're only showing this much of your face because you're wearing maybe a mask, I don't know. It's simple and effective. You can get some of the really fun, playful colors. This is a nice neutral that I think you can wear all the time. I love it. Next up is the first Ilia product I ever came in contact with that stole my heart and has really set the standard for all other products in this category. Limitless Lash Mascara, y'all. Oh, she is that girl. So yes, I raved about the eye tint, but this one really takes the cake. I actually love the new packaging. This is the first one I've had since they've redone their packaging, so it's been a while, but it feels very chic. It's got a little bit of weight to it without being weirdly heavy for a mascara, if you know what I mean. Oh, I love it. And I love everything about it. Now, if you're not a big fan of plastic teeth on mascara, please just give this one a try. I promise you it will not disappoint. I'm not even gonna curl my lashes, and I religiously curl my lashes just so you can see the difference and the effect that this mascara will have. Oh, I love her so much. You might have seen that the brush itself has 2 different sides to it and 2 different types of teeth. So one is for your top lashes, which is kind of like half of a regularly cylindrical, like domed wand. And then the other half is just a straight, it looks like a little tiny comb. It's all straight, and it's for your bottom lashes. And it's just designed for the perfect coat. This is just one coat. I'm gonna zoom in, do our flawless zoom skills. I'm working on my lighting, so if it's a little dark, sorry. But this is just one coat. You can tell, hopefully, that my lashes are separated really beautifully, and that's because of the shape and the length of the little teeth on the comb. And they're fanned, and it's lifted, it's got volume, it's got curl. I mean, this is what my lashes look like right now. They're flat, they're just not living their best life. So I just really don't know what else to say except for you need to try this. Also, if you know that some mascaras that you like are better after you've had them for like a month or 2, you know what I mean? Like once they kind of dry out and become the perfect texture. This is the first time, this is a brand new tube, and it's not sticky, It doesn't make my lashes like little spider legs, you know? Sometimes they're a little too wet when you first open them. This is the perfect texture from start to finish. It will dry out like most mascaras do, but honestly, I just couldn't love it more. Oh my god. This is it, the Limitless Lash Mascara, both top and bottom. I always do multiple coats. Specifically on the top, I want to say I did about 3, and this is the fullest that I want them to be. And that's the cool part about it. And again, that's the case with everything from Ilia. It's very buildable. So if you want something super light and you want to just barely define your lashes, do a coat or 2. But if you want to build it up, get a little more definition, a little more volume, you can, and it's not so thick. I've used so many different mascaras, and some that are super, super black and some that are super thick and almost like make your lashes like velvety. I don't know if that makes sense, but this just, the only way I can describe it is very, very natural. My lashes are really nice and separated, which is a really big thing for me, and I just love it. The only thing is, I will say, is that it can transfer, especially if you don't set your under eyes and you're using the concealer. So that's something that I'm going to do momentarily. I don't have the Ilia powder, but I've heard good things. I'm gonna do that, and I probably should have done that before I did my mascara, but what are you gonna do? Definitely one of my top 5 mascaras. I'm still on the hunt, but this is definitely part of the ranking so far, and it's really great to layer, especially if you like to use multiple mascaras. Just a fun tip. On to the lips. Using their lip color in Amber Light. I absolutely love this color. What you're looking at is my natural lip color. I did end up wiping off the multi-stick, so this is what my lips generally naturally look like. They do maybe have a little bit of foundation on them, but pretty pigmented. This color is a beautiful, like peachy coral, and it thins out really, really nicely. I like to apply it with the bullet and then just use my finger to kind of spread it out, because with this color and this formula and usually this makeup look, I don't want it to look too polished or too done. It just is the perfect little wash of color. And the texture is very similar to, I'm sure, many lipsticks that you may have used. It's slightly more on the matte side. It's creamy, but it's not super satiny that you get this really like juicy or almost creamy oily finish. And that's what I like about it. It's very comfortable on the lips, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot there. So you're getting a really nice color payoff. Again, buildable. You can thin it out like I did. You can build up more if you like. And I love some of the colors. I'm a big fan. And I love this color. I've been using it almost daily. And it's really great to use with maybe a little bit of a darker lip liner. Next, because I am in the mood for a little bit of a shine, is their Balmy Gloss, the Lip Tinted Oil in Only You. It's a really cute, kind of like petal pinky color. I love it on its own, but I've been really enjoying this combination lately. Again, just using the applicator and then using my finger to kind of blur it out and blend the two together. Usually I'm pretty skeptical of most lip oils just because of previous experiences, so I was really interested to see how this one felt and wore and what the color was like, and I gotta say I'm really impressed with it. It's definitely on the thinner side. Like, I've used some lip oils that are basically just glosses, but it's not so thin that it feels slippery or that it just absorbs right into my lips. It still leaves enough of a shine that's very comfortable. It's definitely for a not lip gloss person. It's not overly intense, it's comfortable, and I think the main point of this is to feel hydrating on the lips, and that is 100% what it does. It's great. You can use it basically as a lip balm, as its little balmy gloss name suggests. Yes, it will definitely fade. It's not long wear, it's not snack proof or kiss proof, but it's easy and comfortable to reapply, and I enjoy it a lot. And this is it. This is the final look. I love it. It's just so light and fresh. It's very comfortable and very easy to apply. So especially on days where I don't feel like putting in the work to do a whole look, or I don't feel super creative, whatever it is, and I just want to feel a little bit more put together, a little more refreshed, these are the products that I go to. And let me know if you do this too, but if I have multiple products from one brand, I don't always do this, but I realize, especially with Ilia, I like using them together because it defines this like specific look. Like when I want to just be fresh and have a little bit of color and take less than 10 minutes, I will go and I will do this full routine. So do you do that too? Are you like, oh, today's an Ilia day, today's a Glossier day, whatever your product is, a Kosas, I don't know. I like using them all together. I think they complement each other and they all have the same amount of delivery and like efficacy on my face, you know? I know what to expect and I know that they all just create this like simple, effortless, oh yes, I just took 2 minutes to pinch my cheeks kind of look. I love it. Just a quick reminder and note before we go, kind of about, my understanding of Ilia and the products and the brand message and ethos, and also my understanding of some people's impression and thoughts around the clean beauty space, especially in makeup, especially with brands such as Ilia that tend to have a very clear demographic, and it's usually like this low maintenance, no makeup, skin is everything, don't overdo it kind of vibe. And I know that some people feel that it kind of excludes a lot of people. It excludes people with skin issues. If you deal with acne, if you deal with dryness, if you have mature skin, if you have redness, if you maybe need a little extra coverage, if that's what you want, it doesn't always feel super inclusive. Or if you like a lot of coverage and you like full glam and you like to chisel and you like to add color, and this seems like totally the opposite of that, sometimes it doesn't always feel like everyone is welcome and everyone can try these things. And I think a lot of people misinterpret the products and the messaging around them. So that's why I really like to make a point to mention the coverage and how user-friendly this is, because you could be coming into this at any different stage. You could either be really experienced and have a lot of different products and be used to a different type of makeup and want to switch things up, or you've never used makeup at all and you're looking for a place to start, or you just, for me, for the longest time, I just wasn't comfortable using makeup that showed my flaws or showed that I still had acne or didn't fully cover my dark under eyes. I just wasn't comfortable with it. I was like, if I'm wearing makeup, it's to cover things up, it's to even things out and make me look flawless. But as I've gotten older and as I've explored the less is more approach to makeup, although I like to do it all, I love incorporating these brands and these products into my repertoire because they've helped me to become more comfortable in my skin, especially as it's freaking out, if it's super red, if I'm breaking out, whatever it is. I like that I can still use something to help me feel a little more polished if that's what I feel the need for, and I don't feel the pressure of having to do a full makeup look. So I just wanted to, I don't really know if that whole arc made sense from the beginning, but I just wanted to remind you, wherever you are on the spectrum, I just want to remind you that you can experiment, and I hope that you're able to get a little bit from this video to see how some of these products show up and how they work and how you can work with them, because they're not always a one-size-fits-all thing. So try to reel it in, because I think I started to go off on a little bit of a tangent. I really just wanted to let you know, and hopefully through this video you were able to see how these products work on me, if you have similar skin to me, if you have a similar approach to makeup as me. But regardless of where you are, what your skin is like, what you feel comfortable in, if these are products that you want to try, I hope you were able to get a good demo of them, and I definitely encourage you to give it a try, especially if it's something that's out of your comfort zone but it speaks to you for whatever reason. Try it and push yourself a little bit. There were times, and especially with this, I actually got this once before, about 2 years ago, and it was one of the first more sheer coverage foundations that I've ever used, and I had to wear it at home a few times before I was comfortable wearing it outside, because I just had a really silly but not great relationship to my appearance and my feelings of worth and comfort, and I'm so grateful that that has evolved over time. And if you're experiencing anything similar, I feel you. Your worth is not defined on this, you can just play with it and do what feels good. But I love that I've played with it. I love that I've experimented, and now I just love wearing this makeup. It's light, it doesn't feel heavy. I don't feel like I have to be constantly checking in on it. Part of that is just, again, the comfort level that I've come to and achieved with myself and my skin and my face. But also it feels good to not be suffocating my skin and be using products that have skin loving ingredients in them and make it look still like my face, you know? It's cool. Also, and actually lastly, if you're still watching, thank you so much, I love you. A note on the True Skin Serum Foundation. I always get the names mixed up. Because it is a thinner formula and it has more coverage than the Super Serum Skin Tint, but also just kind of in general, I would recommend making sure that you have a well-hydrated base. So if you deal with any dryness, any flakiness, maybe you have a pimple that's drying up or just dryness all over, I would definitely be sure to exfoliate and make sure you're well hydrated, because the way this dries down, it has a tendency to kind of hold onto and cling to those dry patches. So keep that in mind. Get yourself all juicy and hydrated as best as you can. And if your skin's just not cooperating, then just keep that in mind and maybe go for something different. Okay, that's all I have for you beautiful people. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning in and checking to see what I have to say about Ilia. I have, again, tried this brand and have used it over the last few years, and I'm so grateful to them for sending these products over to me that I would and will continue to purchase and experiment and try on my own, just because I'm such a fan and I just love the way that it makes me feel and how comfortable I am using products that still look like me, you know? It's not covering me up, it's just enhancing me. I love it. I just love it. Again, I hope you got what you needed out of today's video. If you just wanted to hang out for a little bit, I'm happy you did and that we could spend some time together. But if you really needed a review or a demo or a swatch, I hope you got it. If you have any more specific questions, want to know a little bit more about the products, the brand, or if you have any of your own experiences that you'd like to share, please chat with me down below. I always look forward to it. Other than that, please like this video, subscribe if you feel like it. It just helps our little tiny baby channel grow and flourish and make more of these videos possible, and that's always a good time, don't you think? Okay, thank you again. I love you so much. Take care, be well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.